Hello, Cornerstone family. Question for you. How do you handle nakedness? We're going to talk about a person in the Bible with 3 kids who had to wrestle with that very thing. Hi, I'm Mark, and this is your daily Cornerstone connection. Well, in the Bible, we have Noah, and after the big flood happened and he built the ark, Noah and his 3 sons exited the ark, and Noah found himself in a super compromising position where he was naked. Now, chances are that you've maybe not had that particular struggle before, but there are elements in which I think we've all felt naked. We've all felt that shame and that exposure. You know, maybe you've seen this in somebody else. Maybe you found out that somebody else has an addiction that nobody else knows about. Maybe you found out that there is a failing in their past that not a lot of people know about that, right? It's a form of nakedness, a form of the shame. And the question is, what do you do with that? There's a temptation to run off and to tell others, right? Absolutely, at least if your marketer is. And but God gives us a cool opportunity, and so that's exactly what happens to Noah. But it kind of reminded me of a time in my life when I felt that shame and that vulnerability. I was in 6th grade, and it was my first time in youth group, and my first trip with youth group. We were going up to a camp, and on the way, I had to go to the bathroom. I mean, my stomach was hurting. I had the rumbling, the tumblings. I tried to tell my dad I got to go, and he was like, "There's no time. Get in the car," you know. And so there we are, and we're driving to the thing, and it's really painful and it's hurting. And I get to the church, and I'm running to the bathroom, and I don't quite make it. Now, this next part, I'm going to tell it to you, but if you are at work, it's okay to plug in your headphones right now. Like, that is okay, man. So there I am. I'm running, and there is just this. I don't know how this is even possible, but it did. I didn't make it. It was bad. There was stuff coming off the walls, and it was embarrassing. And then it couldn't get worse, and I look over, and there's no toilet paper in the stall. Why is there no toilet paper in the stall? And I'm going, and so I do the best I can and kind of situated myself, and I go out, and somebody's walking in, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, what happened here?" And I was like, I don't know. It was like that when I got here, man. And I go and I walk out. Everyone knew that I was a 6th grader who just did a very embarrassing thing in the bathroom. And nobody wanted to be real close to me, and they're all like, "There's the guy that did the thing. He smells bad," you know? And I just felt so much shame and so much embarrassment in that moment. Now, the story gets better. I'll come back to that story. But first, let's dig in here to the Word. In Genesis chapter 9, Noah has come out of the ark, and he is working the ground. And I'm looking down at verse 20. It says that Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. So this is where Noah discovers what wine is, apparently. He drank of the wine and became drunk and laid uncovered in his tent. Noah was very exposed, right? He put himself into this very vulnerable position. And Ham, one of his children, saw the nakedness of his father. And what's he do? He immediately goes out to his 2 brothers outside, and he's like, "Guys, you got to go and look at this. Look at this. Dad is inside, and he's naked. Let's go," right? And then what did the other 2 kids do? The scriptures go on. Then Shem and Japheth, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Japheth, maybe. They took a garment and they laid it on both their shoulders, and they walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. The story goes on because what happened is Noah woke up, and the child that went out and told his brothers about it, that child is cursed by Noah. And the 2 kids that went in there and covered him, Noah blesses them. I think, man, it is really easy to be the child, to be Ham in that situation. There's a temptation when you find out that when you see the nakedness in somebody else, the vulnerability, the shame in another believer, to want to go off and tell other people. But what an opportunity to love on them and to bless them and to come beside them. You know, I see a couple of cool principles there. The brothers, they took action right away. The 2 brothers that did the right thing, they immediately got a garment and went in to cover their father's nakedness. That was thing number 1, they took action. When somebody's dealing with shame, never be afraid to take action. Even if that's just telling them, "Hey man, I love you, I'm praying for you. We're in this thing together." Number 2, they came in and they did not look at the father's nakedness. They averted their eyes. How important is it when loving your brother that's going through a sin that you not become entangled in that sin yourself? Absolutely. And then finally, what I see is that in all of this, they treated their father with dignity and respect. And that is so key as we go through life together as Christians, and we stumble upon those moments where there's shame in someone else's life, that we treat them with dignity and respect, because we're all sinners. We all are, right? Your sin is different from my sin, but we're both sinners in that way. And we both need the redemption and the grace of Jesus so bad. I sure did when I was a kid in middle school, man. And I found it because there was a high schooler who I sat next to on the bus up to that camp. And he was a football player. He was huge. He was a senior. And he came and he sat next to me. And everyone's like, don't sit next to that kid. He's the one that did that thing in the bathroom and he smells bad. And he was like, hey man, you took care of it, right? No problem. This is my brother right here. And I will always remember that because that was just like so cool to me. Hey, maybe God's given you the opportunity to love on someone this week. The challenge is to do it. Thanks, guys. God bless.